The Toronto Raptors, the miracle team that pulls off yet another buzzer beater, this time against the Washington Wizards, this time on the road. The Toronto Raptors are a very interesting team, and a couple of the players that made them interesting didn't play tonight. So Jakob Poeltl misses every single game, this time missing again his third straight game in preseason. This is the wait, hold on. Fourth straight. This is the fourth game in preseason. The Raptors moved to 3-1, and Jakob Poeltl has missed every single one of those games. Today, Brandon Ingram also missed his game, and Collin Murray-Boyles, who did not practice with the team, also missed the game. So the Toronto Raptors were without two starters and arguably their most important bench player. They started Sandro Mamukelashvili and Jakob Poeltl in their place, and the results were somewhat promising. In the first half, the Toronto Raptors played a lot through Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and Scottie Barnes. The offense was abysmal tonight. The Raptors end up winning this game despite shooting 33.6% from the field and 28.6% from three. That is hard to do. In fact, there might not be 10 games all season in which a team can shoot this poorly and win basketball games. Yeah, they're 3-1. Am I wrong on that? They are 3-1, right? Yeah. They've won the last three. Am I crazy? They've won the last three, right? So HY saying offense was beyond garbage. The Raptors played Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. They've played 4 games. Am I crazy? Isn't it 2-1? I'm pretty sure they've played 3. I'm pretty sure they played 4 games, dude. So a lot of people are talking about Scottie Barnes right now. So here's what I want to say. First of all, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving, a very happy Thanksgiving. And I want to share some things that I'm very thankful for. First of all, I'm very thankful that the Raptors won this game. It was very, very ugly down the stretch. The Raptors had this game in the bag, middle of the fourth quarter, and then suddenly David Roddy can't hit a single three. Elijah Martin continues to bleed minutes on the court. Chucky Hepburn, who has been my favorite rookie so far, he can't generate good offense. Obviously, the Raptors are not going to pull their starters back into the game, and so you live with the results. This is preseason. It doesn't matter. And, you have a rookie, Will Riley, step to the line on what I think was a pretty bogus call and move the lead to 112, 111. And at the end, it is Darko Rajakovic who comes up with a pretty decent play call, if I'm being honest, to get Olivier Sarr a lob at the basket. And if there's one way you're going to utilize Olivier Sarr, it's at the basket. It's going to open up a very interesting conversation that I want to have later tonight in my members only show about vertical spacing, and something that I think the Raptors don't have. Now, one of the things that I'm very thankful for is this community. And I am very, very thankful for the fact that over the last year, pretty much all of my income has come from basketball. That is a gift. And it is not something that I take lightly. And it's something that I've worked very hard for. And it's something that I'm just very humbled and very gracious. The second thing that I am very, very thankful for is my mental faculties, that my brain still works. In my mid-30s, I'm glad that my brain still works, that I'm still able to be sharp and acutely aware, that I think that I have a reasonable amount of intelligence to be able to decipher things. The third thing I'm very thankful for is growth. I am very thankful for growth, and I'm very thankful for patience, because sometimes growth requires patience, and I think a lot of people have been very, very patient with me as I grow through some of my flaws. The fourth thing that I am most thankful for, and this one is a lifesaver, is the block button on X. Okay. There are a lot of people who are saying a lot of crap right now about Scottie Barnes and Jonathan Mobo, and just basically they've nitpicked like 3-4 players on this team that they just do not like. And I disagree with 85 to 95% of what they're saying. I think that a lot of people have asked me to be honest about what I see from Scottie, and I think that that's cool. It's cool. Like, yes, we should be honest. We have called him out many, many times. There's so many plays last season where I was like, nope, that doesn't work. No, I don't want that process, et cetera, et cetera. There's even there's even moments today where I can absolutely tell you that I did not like certain things that Scottie did. There were passes, one pass that he threw at Mobo's foot, one pass that went way over Immanuel Quickley's head in transition. There were a couple of forced jumpers that I didn't love. There was a couple of possessions where he didn't get up the court. There's definitely things to work out here, but this is also a player who's working through jumper's knee. And if you understand basketball at all, you understand that jumper's knee or tendonitis, if you've ever had it, is a load injury, it's an overuse injury. So the same people who say this guy, is just kind of coasting through preseason. Well, that same guy went out and played a meaningless game on the road on Thanksgiving against the Washington Wizards and was a team high plus 22, got 12 rebounds, and quite frankly, was not even 25%, I think, health wise. But he went out there because Brandon Ingram was out. And frankly, in order to stabilize this offense and make quick decisions, sometimes Scottie Barnes is the best person to go out there and just do some of that for you. I think there was a lot of good things today, but overall, there's a lot of misinformation right now. And I hope that some of the stuff that we talk about in the film session today, but also the members live later, can quell some of that. But honestly, we're not going to change everybody's mind. There's certain people out there who are just going to be like, this guy's a bum. And it's like, to you, honestly, who cares? Who cares, man? It's like, cool. Overall, as a takeaway from tonight's game, Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes were not efficient from the field. And I think it led to a lot of the poor process that the Raptors had. However, for the most part, I like a lot of the shots that Immanuel Quickley took. RJ Barrett, I didn't love some of the shots he took. He forced a lot at the rim, and that negative 11, in terms of the plus minus, can sometimes be a little bit misleading. But that is a 33-point differential between Barnes and Barrett on the court. And that's hard to do when they considerably shared a lot of minutes together. Basically, if Barnes and Barrett were on the court together, it was not good tonight. And there's really no reason for that, because you would think a downhill driver who plays off the ball and is able to cut the way Barrett is would succeed with Barnes. And I think a lot of people are able to look at the Washington Wizards and just say they're a really bad basketball team. And while that is partially true, I don't think that it completely represents what this team does well. They're very athletic. They're very long. They have a lot of positionally sound defenders and a lot of great athletes. And I think those athletes are exactly what is effectively RJ Barrett's kryptonite, right? You put Keyshawn George, you put Alex Sarr, guys like that at the rim, Barrett can't finish over them. And I think that's partially what led to some issues for the Raptors. Jakob Poeltl started tonight. He went 0 for 8 last game, started this game 1 for 8, but ultimately found his groove a little bit with two makes. One was a bit of a pump fake at the basket, a pump fake, and then the final shot that he made tonight was a 3 from the left corner. But ultimately, this hasn't been the most promising shooting performance from Jakob Poeltl during preseason, especially for some of us who have very high hopes for Jakob going forward. In terms of, Sandro Mamukelashvili missed every single 3 he took tonight, but I have no qualms about him at all, right? Scottie, we'll talk about Scottie in the film session more, but overall, I really have no issues with this performance from him. 10 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals in 21 minutes. Like, if you're quibbling about him missing jumpers or him missing threes, honestly, like, I just don't think you understand basketball, and that's okay, man. That's just perfectly fine. It's okay. Okay, when you play through jumper's knee, there's a lot of pain in your lower knee when you extend up. Now, some people will say, whoa, Scottie's always injured. Scottie's always hurt. Well, Scottie works really hard. He works hard on the court. He works hard off the court. And sometimes you push yourself a little too hard, and jumper's knee can sometimes take 2, 3, 4 weeks, sometimes 5 weeks. He played through a lot of tendinopathy in his second season. It was revealed after the season, and I got to find out that he played through tendonitis through a lot of his second season, and it really affects your jump shooting performance, man. But when he's felt right, when he feels good, I think he's a solid 35-36% three-point shooter. And if he's not going to take wide open threes, honestly, he can't be on the court. So Scottie Barnes, Jonathan Mobo, Collin Murray-Boyles, RJ Barrett, none of these guys are great shooters. They all need to take open threes. And that is the directive from Darko. In terms of, his defense, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, some people are saying it's great. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there were some mistakes where, Wizards players just missed shots at the basket, and I don't think you can credit good defense for that. I think the most important thing for Scottie tonight was process. I just loved how quickly he got the ball up the court. There were so many connective passes, like the play that leads to the play, the hockey assists, which I think were really good for him. Off the bench, obviously standout performances from Chucky Hepburn and Jamison Battle. Not just because they made shots, but overall because I just felt like the team was most composed with those two guys on the court. I think Jonathan Mobo was fine. Obviously, nothing to write home about. Ochai Agbaji with 11 rebounds off the bench in 16 minutes. He was the one player apart from maybe Scottie Barnes who had the athleticism to deal with like the Cam Whitmores of the world, right? The Alex Stars of the world. Like, say what you will about this team, man. Like they may be a very weird team. Bub Carrington goes 0 for 8, like shit, right? Like Corey Kispert goes 2 for 8. Like they just have really good athletes. Like Marvin Bagley, for everything you can say about Marvin Bagley, still a really good athlete. And the Raptors just don't have those types of vertical pop athletes. I think at some point this week, I would like to work on a video essay about Chucky Hepburn. I started working on it last night. I'm so impressed with this guy. Like, again, once again, the numbers, whatever, right? He makes 3 out of 4 threes. Actually, tomorrow, in fact, I will be having a live with Erson tomorrow late afternoon, in which we will break down Chucky Hepburn. If y'all remember our draft show, Erson was the guy who, immediately after the draft was like, the first person I'll call is Chucky Hepburn. And I didn't watch a lot of Chucky last year at Louisville. So honestly, I feel like that's me missing. But since we drafted him, I went back and I looked and I watched, and I'm like, man, if I had actually watched this dude the way that I'm watching him now, I probably would have had him like in the late 30s, early 40s on my draft board. He was awesome last year. He was the defensive player of the year. I think he played some insane competition, and I don't think it's a stretch to say he's your best guard defender right now. Like, there's no chance. Like, I will literally riot if this team waives him at any point. I think the more solid thing to do is probably to convert him. I would be shocked out of my mind if he's not playing rotation minutes for you within a year. Like, shocked out of my mind. Jamal Shed is solid too. Had a really tough shooting performance tonight. Jared Roden could not recreate the magic of the previous game. Comes in immediately, -13. Crazy to do. Elijah Martin, 0 for 2. Just, again, nothing that I've seen from Elijah Martin so far tells me that he's an NBA player. He's a very, very good vertical pop athlete, which is what I'm saying the Raptors lack. The Raptors lack vertical pop athletes. I get that. But all that being said, like, none of this really matters if you can't process the court, and he just does not process well. He doesn't process well off the ball. This may get better. Obviously, he's a rookie, but he's about to be 24 in December. So, temper your expectations. There's a lot of, hype around Elijah Martin, and I understand it. I get it. I'm rooting for the guy because he plays for the Toronto Raptors. But, man, watching him for Florida last year, there's a reason why he was not top 60 on my draft board. I watched him a lot last year. So unlike Chucky Hepburn, where the issue was I didn't watch Louisville enough, with Elijah Martin, the issue was not that I didn't watch. The issue was that I did watch him, and I just don't think that he's. I think he's a 6'1", 6'2" power forward. Like, it's a really weird archetype to ever be successful at. And what I watched from him in summer league and what I've watched from him in 4 preseason games now is just that he does not switch his hips well. He does not get into the ball enough. He doesn't have the lateral quickness to really, really be that type of, like, he's obviously very strong for a guard. Like, I think the problem is he's too heavy, and I think he probably needs to lose a lot of weight, and I don't know if he's going to do it. Like, he's built like a linebacker, and he plays like it. So yeah, but unfortunately, like, the shot, it's a little bit inconsistent. He shoots it very, very flat. There's probably a lot of work that needs to be done on it. So I don't doubt the guy's hard work. I don't doubt his character. I don't doubt why the Raptors saw, an opportunity to draft him at 39. There were way better players available. Speaking of better players available, one of them is Jameer Watkins. And, he came in and he was part of that team, and he was part of that unit towards the end of the game that really brought the game back. And he had 2 rebounds and three points. Like, nothing to write home about. And Will Riley, of course, another rookie. He had 4 points. Trey Johnson played backup point guard tonight. This Wizards team is very interesting to me. And one of my favorite players on that team is Keyshawn George. And Keyshawn George literally put RJ Barrett in jail. Like, he had 4 blocks. And I cannot remember how many of those blocks were against RJ Barrett. But, man, like, this dude is just such a positionally sound defender, and just and you know what? He's a good shooter. Don't let the 1 for 7 fool you. Like, I think he has like a lot of really solid shit. Anyways, let's get to the team stats for a second here. In terms of the team stats, the abysmal Toronto Raptors offense generates 36 out of 107. Like, my God, man, this Wizards team is not some sort of defensive stalwart. Like, I understand they've got length, but a lot of what the Raptors did tonight was just bad process. They end up getting 17 offensive rebounds, which was a huge saver in terms of, keeping this game close. They also forced 19 turnovers. I think the Wizards kind of going without a traditional point guard, CJ McCollum, Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, they didn't play a single point guard tonight. And if you're not going to play point guard, like a really good playmaking point guard against the Toronto Raptors, you're probably going to lose. So overall, I thought it was fine. Emmanuel Quickly and Gradey Dick, of course, worth saying. They hit some threes. I think Gradey had some really promising moments. I think the defense, am I willing to dissect the defense on these times? Like, I think Emmanuel Quickly, it was so bad to start, and then it got so much better as he started to go more in rhythm. Like, there were a couple of times where he sort of squeezed the air out of the basketball, made some passes that were off target. There's a corner pass that we're going to look at to Jamison Battle that was just so off target. It's just like, how do you be an NBA point guard and make that pass and just be so off target with it? But I mean, later on, there was a lot of transition, kick ahead to kind of threes. Defense misplayed it. I think he played, reasonably well. This is definitely the best Emmanuel Quickly game that we've got. Your mom saying Scottie is Aaron Gordon, and that's okay. You don't know ball, and that's also okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool. It's absolutely cool, man. All right, let's get to the film session. Let's get to the film session. Hang on one second. Pull this off. The conviction with which people talk about basketball is absolutely absurd to me. Like, okay, so let's get into this. First, I want to read this post because it is going to be the subject of what I think will be a deep discussion later on. Okay, the problem in Toronto's starting lineup and overall team philosophy might be simple oversight of vertical spacing. Apart from Scottie, occasionally most of Toronto's key players finish at or under the rim. I should include Ochai Agbaji in this as well. If you want to run, it helps to have a few high flyers. And between Ingram, CMB, IQ, RJ, Gradey, Jacoby, while the Raptors have coordinated athletes at the wing, they're missing the type of quick twitch vertical pop. I'm thinking Matas Buzelis. I'm thinking Carter Bryant, Adu Thiero, Derek Lively. These are the types of players you need to pair with Scottie Barnes in a high transition offense. The Raptors are a very frequent transition team, but they're just not a very efficient transition team. And if I'm looking at anything that could be the Raptors' Achilles heel this year, this is it. They don't space super well from three, and they space abysmally at the rim. It sounds casual to say, but if you've noticed me pushing for Malik Monk, Jonathan Kuminga this offseason, or Carter Bryant, or Adu Thiero during the draft process, this is why. Okay? Okay. Your mom, I definitely love the fact that you're very, very confident in your basketball takes, right? Like, I love that. Like, I love that energy that you're bringing. It's super cool, right? It's awesome, right? But you're also like really dumb. So, like, I feel like I love free speech, but also like I don't have the patience for this shit. Like, you're not going to derail an entire chat into like some sort of Scottie hate mob. There is currently a Scottie hate mob happening on Hello and Welcome right now during their live. You are happy to go over there and please bombard them with your inane, dumb, backwards basketball defined. I don't know, basketball deficit. Like, what is it? Like, whatever it is, you will find a lot of support in that community. I promise. You will find a ton. Okay? Your voice, your throat good? What? Something happened to my voice right now? Can anyone confirm that I've been what you're saying here? Like, is my audio good? Okay. I'm gonna push through, and if I have to step off and reset, let me know. Okay. So I said Scottie is having some issues bending his knee. Every jumper feels short. Okay. I said this is going to be a loss. I can see it from the opening tip, and it's going to result in a lot of pointless conjecture. This Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for the block feature on this app. Like, I felt like this team was going down a very, very bad place in the first quarter, right? Okay, now here, listen to me, okay? Listen to me and listen to me well. Yes, if this is a normal situation, the paint is wide open. We can all agree that you would rather that Scottie Barnes drives into the basket here, okay? But I don't need Scottie Barnes to drive here. If it's a game on the line, if this is a game that matters, if the Raptors are down, by all means drive. This is a preseason game. Do you understand what a fucking preseason game is? It is an exhibition. People do not need to try super hard in an exhibition. Okay. If you're going to argue that he didn't do what you wanted him to do or what the right play was or whatever, well, I need you to stop treating your fucking all star, your max player, like a role player. Okay. He is not a rookie. He is not Elijah Martin trying to make the fucking roster. Okay. And I think people need to get their head out of their ass and try to like actually intellectualize this, like open your mind to the idea that this dude is going at 15%, and I find it perfectly okay. This is one of the highest motor players last year on defense. This is a guy who, in a meaningless season, by the way, completely lifted your defense last year in the second half in games that the Raptors were actually trying to lose because it was a good thing for his defense. So if you're going to use him settling for jumpers in a preseason game that doesn't mean anything, like, I don't know. I think you're just looking for reasons to hate the guy. And if you hate the guy, I don't know why you're here. Like, you're just going to get blocked and banned. Like, I will happily entertain any actual criticisms of Scottie's game. Tight hip flexors, I'm happy to talk about it. Sometimes tough shot selection, happy to talk about it. I dissected his shooting form on Instagram like a week ago, and I was not kind. I was not kind. I painted out that there was progress, but I said that there was lots of holes. I am not some sort of blind Scottie Glazer. I am, however, a person who is cognizant of the fact that asking people like Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes to go 100% in preseason is absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. Okay. So Brandon Ingram comes out and he's not trying very hard on defense. I really don't have a big issue with it. I just happen to think that Brandon Ingram is trying very much on defense because he wants to make a good impression with his new teammates. But honestly, next year preseason, don't expect some sort of like massive BI performances. Like, this is just about settling down the team, getting into the flow of things, playing basketball after 9 to 10 months being off, getting back into rhythm. That's what preseason is about, man. It's about getting back into rhythm. It's about finding your footing, finding your shot, finding the rhythm of the game. It's not about wins, not about losses. If the Raptors lost today, it wouldn't matter. If the Raptors win today, it doesn't matter. These losses don't count. These wins don't count. And you can look at a jumper like this and say, why is he taking this jumper? Well, I'll tell you why from a physics standpoint. Because when you release at the place Scottie releases, it's an unstoppable shot. A pull-up jumper from mid-range is exactly what Scottie needs. The paint is often congested on this team. He is not a player who is going to be given a lot of attention at the three-point line. And whether he shoots 35%, 40%, or 20%, it's not going to matter. Teams are not going to guard him at the three-point line because he is too dangerous going downhill. So you're going to once again encounter the situation where you're going to have a counter. And if you have the ball in a tight clock situation, that pull-up jumper from mid-range is the cheat code. I mean, I talk about it all the time. He needs to figure the shot out. I was very, very disheartened last year when I heard through the grapevine that the Raptors were going to move away from pull-up jumpers from mid-range. I was like, no, 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 no. You need to do this, right? Like, you need to work on this with him in these games that don't matter. And I'm so glad that he got better at it last year. I'm glad that he got to try it. This is exactly the type of shot he's never really taken in his life. And you know what? You can say he's an all-star. He didn't become an all-star taking mid-range jumpers. Okay. HY saying Ace Bailey is just a better shooter. No one's debating that. Ace Bailey is a pure shooter. Scottie Barnes is not a pure shooter. He's a mechanical shooter. But there are mechanical shooters who can shoot 38, 39%. So nevertheless, moving on to the next play. There's going to be a lot of Scottie stuff here. To be clear, I don't love this by Barnes. I said I don't love this by Barnes. Cut, stop standing there and screaming for the ball. And that is this play. Hold on. Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? What the hell? Yeah, that's this. Okay, so this play, Scottie is just basically standing in the corner. Chris Middleton is completely happy to ignore him. And I don't love this. because it's just bad process. But obviously, if you're going to stand him in the corner and he's going to be wide open, you do need to give him the ball. So it's a two-way thing. Scottie found his way to this place on the court. Emmanuel quickly completely looks him off, does not pass him the ball, and I don't really love this idea of him just kind of standing there with his arms up. Like, I mean, maybe it kind of signals that he doesn't have a lot of faith in his teammates seeing him wide open, that he has to make himself so present. I do like that he's shot ready. He wants to take this shot. But here, Emmanuel quickly is going to force a contested shot at the rim and draw a foul. So perfectly fine with the result. I just don't love this idea of a player standing in a corner, screaming for the basketball. I think there needs to be something better you can do. Okay, here, a bad pass by Scottie Barnes to Jonathan Mobo kind of ends up at his feet. You could argue Jonathan Mobo has bad hands or something like that as well if you're a hater. But yeah, I think it was just a really tough pass by Scottie. Here, Chucky Hepburn, who has just such a great nose for the basketball, collects it, sees the defender is tripping over his own player, and immediately decides to take the three. Now, obviously, there is a pass to Jonathan Mobo here as well, but Hepburn already made up his mind. He's taking the shot and he's making the shot, takes it, makes it confidently. Here, Scottie Barnes doing something that Draymond Green could never do. Okay, dribble, one defender. Here, double team, soft double. Here, if you're going to guard Scottie Barnes like this, he's going to destroy you. And this is how Scottie Barnes could be guarded if he was an elite pull-up jump shooter from three. But most teams don't guard him this way. So now Vucevic is going to recover. Barnes is going to wait for the defense to clear out. And here, one-on-one against Corey Kispert, who is not a good defender. And here, he's just going to take this jumper, pull up, self-generated, the very thing that people glaze Ace Bailey, Brandon Ingram, Kevin Durant, every great player for making, he can make that shot. Yeah, he can make that shot. If you're going to play him that way, he can make that shot. Here, I really hate this pass by Emmanuel quickly. Jamison Battle, obviously, the Raptors have made a very, very strong effort in getting the ball up the court very quickly. Scottie is a huge part of that. He demands the ball very, very much from the referee. He does that Jokic thing where he quickly hits it to Emmanuel quickly. And here, quickly kind of looking at Jakob Poeltl for whatever reason, decides to whip it to the corner. Now, what's the right move here? You've got a 4-on-2. You've beat your man. You're one of the fastest players in the league. The right move here is to drive down the middle and dump it off to Sandro Mamukelashvili or to pitch it to the corner to Jamison Battle. You have the perfect transition situation here. Instead, you're going to fuck this up by whipping a pass to the corner and being so off target that Jamison Battle falls out of bounds trying to catch it. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible one. Cal Pucky saying, please stop spoiling the game in the title. Sorry, man. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Here I said Scottie Barnes or Nikola Jokic. 2 plays. Right? Bum, bum, bum. Here. The guy who doesn't care about preseason. Just want to get that out there. Doesn't give a fuck about preseason. That guy. Yeah, he's going to go for the rebound and look at how quickly he makes this decision. Again, speed is everything. 100% when I say court mapping is the cheat, is the cheat, that's the cheating. The cheat code. Court mapping is the cheat code. And on this play, I love this. I love this play from him. Okay, look at this. Let's see if you can spot the right move. Do you see it? 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 Now, Scottie has not seen the court because he is an elite processor of the court, like all the great players in NBA history are. He doesn't spend too much time thinking about this. So here, he's going to manipulate the defense by taking a step back. But he already knows what he wants to do here. And what he wants to do is he wants to fire this pass between Cam Whitmore and Vucevic because they have missed Sandro Mamukelashvili under the basket. This is what I'm saying here. This type of play is the type of dribble manipulation that stars have to do. Now, you can say it's against the Wizards. Fine. Yes. Nobody is debating that the competition of doing this, it's different to do this against Cam Whitmore and Tristan Vuskovic than it is to do this against AD and Cooper Flag, or do this against Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. I get that. But these are the reps. These are the reps. Okay, again, watch this play. Here, you are manipulating the defender. You are shaking the defender. You get him off balance. You deliberately take a step back. HY saying just bad defense. Wasn't that impressive. You don't know what you're watching. Like, that's okay too. But like, you just don't know what you're watching. And that's okay. Like, I'm sorry to approach this live from such an irritated standpoint. And I'm trying not to lose my cool. But like, the people who are like trying to understand this game, like, I beg you to ignore these people. Like, you got to understand this. When does the decision get made here? Right? Like, in order to understand good processing, you have to see bad processing. And you know what? Maybe I need to do like an entire breakdown of bad processing again for you to understand like how many players do not see this. Right? Like, here. Boom. Again, he doesn't have a handle, right? Cam Whitmore, say what you want, is a 250-pound super athlete who was supposed to be a lottery pick. Okay. So here, he's not a great defender. But this play right here, where does Scottie see this? Like, where does he see the Mamu cut? First of all, good cut by Mamu, right? Mamu's going to cut right behind this defender who is way too focused on Scottie Barnes. So number one, you're kind of drawing the attention. The attention you draw with your offensive aggression is what creates the miscommunication. The second thing here is Scottie makes the decision to make this pass right here. What I appreciate about this is that whereas 2 years ago, he throws this pass right now, he probably throws it up. Here, he's actually going to try something cool, which is he's going to shift the defender a little bit more to make it an even more open shot. The most open shot Mamu got all night was that. To create a look like that, not in transition, but in the half court, is exactly what Scottie's detractors say he cannot do. Okay. So here I said Toronto is -15 with Barnes on the bench. So basically, if he's done for the night, this entire game is going to rest on the shoulders of Chucky Hepburn. That was a prophecy. Okay. I want to be clear. That was a fucking prophecy because the lineup that nearly lost this game was with Chucky Hepburn on the court. I like this. So here, once again, the guy who doesn't care about preseason, I'm going to keep bringing that up, doesn't care about preseason. We're going to quickly make a decision here. Okay. How quickly do you process the court? Quick hit ahead. No wasted dribble, no pound, no gather your breath, no dribbling it up yourself. You have a teammate who is in a better position to make a play, make that play. Now, this time, I love this play. I love this pass from IQ. So here, good defense by Jacoby. Terrible offense by Bob Carrington, who went 0 for 8 tonight. Here, Jacoby's going to pass to Emmanuel quickly. And now this time, Emmanuel quickly is going to make a good read. I like this. Mamu, once again, boom, a little bit further ahead and clean dunk. Love it. Good stuff. Please do more of that, Emmanuel quickly. Here, Jakobi Walter is going to make his first and only 3 of the night. And that's this. And boom. Boom goes the dynamite, man. I don't really think that there's a foul there, but whatever. It's cool. Now, here, I said Chucky Hepburn has been the most impressive Raptors rookie. If you know, you know, right? I just love how he plays at his own pace. This is very rare for rookies. It's very rare for rookies. Rookies are constantly like, they're overstimulated. Like their brains are not calm, right? So here you have a former second overall pick, Marvin Bagley, very long defender. You're a 6'2" rookie guard. You got the clock winding down. You're at 5 seconds. Now, 4 seconds, you're dancing with the basketball. You take this little dribble step back, and Bagley just gives too much space on that. I just like it. I like it. I like how confident he is. I love how he plays at his own pace. Now, here, this is kind of like my response to Samson folk. And okay, so he said, I can only assume Scottie Barnes does not respect or care for preseason basketball in the slightest. And I said, All Stars don't hustle in preseason. The same guy who put up 21, 12, 9, 5 steals against the Nuggets in the regular season last year had 1 point against the Nuggets this preseason. He grabbed 12 rebounds tonight. Every jumper is short as he works through jumper's knee right now. Let's be patient. He's going to be fine. Samson responded, I don't see in my tweet where I said for people to lose patience. Like, I didn't say you said that people should lose patience. I just think that trying to determine whether or not somebody cares about preseason because they didn't make it up to half court mark when they saw the opposing team was about to take a timeout, to me is like, it's tough, right? Like, I don't know how you can assume that. To those of you who do not wish to have this game spoiled for you, even though for some reason you're attending a post-game live, but for those of you who don't want to see this, this is the ATO that the Toronto Raptors drew out to end the game. Here, Sar is going to set this screen, and they are going to completely miscommunicate this. Beautiful, by the way. Here, Chucky Hepburn trying to set a screen there, and this entire play was designed for Jared Rhoden to throw this to Olivier Sarr. So how did the Raptors end up in this very precarious situation, man? How did they end up in a situation where they're up 15 points and suddenly they're like down? Well, part of it comes down to, I think, the Wizards' third unit just has a little bit more talent, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. They've devoted a lot of time accumulating lottery picks and first round picks, putting them all together, stacking them together. And I think that it's perfectly fine that the Wizards have that type of talent base. You don't. Vegan Grass saying, crashing out over preseason. It's going to be a long season for some people. Whew. Look, man, I'll say this. Brandon Ingram, one of my favorite players in the league. Scottie Barnes, one of my favorite players, is my favorite player in the league. I'm looking forward to this season a lot for that basis alone. Like, two of my favorite players playing on my team. Like, I'm very happy about it. If you are somebody who wants to turn this entire season into a Scottie witch hunt, that's on you, man. That's your fucking prerogative. I'm not going to entertain it. I don't want to entertain it. If you can't see his value, that's okay. The other day I posted this thing, which was the FanDuel pyramid, right, where they ranked out all the best players in the league. Where the hell is it? Here. And I said nearly everyone I talk to thinks Scottie Barnes is the top 40 player, except Raptor fans. Man, this media space has done a real number on how Toronto views this guy. And I fully believe it. I really do. Like, how you're introduced to players plays a huge role in terms of how you continue to view them, especially if you're not very enlightened. How was Jonathan Mobo introduced to this fan base? Was he introduced as the best player in his division? No. Was he introduced as a super hard worker? No. He was introduced as a nepotistic sort of favor to Scottie Barnes. It's nice Scottie Barnes has a friend on the team. And so the scuttlebutt starts. So when Jonathan Mobo struggles, people always go back to, well, he's only on the team because Scottie Barnes needed a favor. It's a very stupid thing. It's not true. Mobo absolutely tracks the type of players that the Raptors really like to get. But when people see that, they assume the worst. It's very similar to Emmanuel Quickley, who was, of course, introduced to the Raptors as a bench player, versus RJ Barrett, who was introduced to most Raptor fans as the future hope of Canada basketball. If I told you 4 years ago that, or 5 years ago, that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to be better than RJ Barrett, you would have called me crazy. But that's where we were 5 years ago. RJ Barrett was the future of Canada basketball. So when RJ Barrett does bad things, you chalk it up to a bad game. When Scottie Barnes does bad things, you chalk it up to blasphemy. And that anchoring bias is not going away anytime soon, right? It's just not going to going away anytime soon. But in the end, the games have to be played, right? Victor Wembanyama was worth tanking for. I said it, right? It doesn't matter we tanked for him, didn't tank for him, whatever. Scottie Barnes, I was listening to Hello and Welcome. Shout outs to Hello and Welcome. They've been doing really, really well. I do want to give a honest critique of something that I heard today, because as I was getting ready for this live, I was listening to their live. I don't listen to their live, so I was like, hey, I pushed this live ahead, so let me listen to what the other post game show is saying. And they talked about how Scotty's had like 2 experimental seasons to just fuck around and do whatever, and this year is going to be like about winning. And it just kind of occurred to me, did they forget that he was an all-star the first year he was just fucking around? There's also this notion that, he's this roll cut power forward. And I'm like, did they forget that he was an all-star playing the 2? To be a Scotty supporter in this space is honestly to be gaslit consistently about every good thing and every bad thing he's ever done. I hate to make everything about it, but that's what it is. If you can be on social media today, you'll understand. If you're on Facebook, if you're on X, you'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying right now. And maybe I'm preaching to the choir because, quite frankly, I've blocked 85% of the people who've ever come at me with some of these stupid Scotty takes, so I can't even talk to them. But the truth is, if I could talk to a Scotty hater, I would say this: he knew more about basketball in grade 6 than you will probably ever know in your entire life. You want to question so many things, right? Uh, about his game, about his process, and whatever. You want to question his trainer. You want to question his work ethic. You want to question this. You don't ever want to question how he's better at 21. He was better at 21 than you thought he'd be in his whole career. But apparently he's got work ethic issues, right? He doesn't care about preseason, apparently. He doesn't care about preseason. He's not, he doesn't care about the game. He has attitude issues, all that stuff. And yet every single person who's ever been around him would tell you he's an effervescently positive person who has great attitude, is a great leader. His teammates speak volumes about him. I think it's pretty gross. What this Raptors media space has tried to do to Scottie Barnes is really gross. I hate it. I really do. I hate it with an absolute passion. I'm not going to lose sleep over it anymore because I realize that Bobby Webster and Darko Rajakovic are not idiots. And there was a comment here that really stood out to me, and I want to read it to you because I just thought it was kind of funny. Hang on one second here. Also, by the way, if you're a verified X user, can you please follow us on PENSARE Basketball? It would go a really long way to helping us out. Trying to get up to 500 verified viewers so that we can finally monetize this thing. We've had so many posts blow up and we don't get a dime for any of it. And I feel like I'm leaving money on the table. Where the hell is it, man? Okay. Where are we? Sorry. Okay. So there was a comment here that really I wanted to dissect here. And it's from Maca Raps. Okay, whatever. So it said, should say something that the ones watching him every game he plays are lower on him than the people who don't watch any. And I said, well, Darko, Masai, Bobby, and myself have watched every single game. And I think we all agree that he's a franchise player. So maybe it's a matter of watching plus actually understanding basketball. And I think that is about as burn as you can get. Obviously, I don't know if there was a response to that. Let's see if there is a response to that. Probable spam. Why are you putting yourself in that group? You're a nobody. Oh, that's why. That's why X decided that was spam. Anyways, look. Long story short, I love this team. I really do. People attempting to find negative things to say about this team are straight up haters. There's nothing negative that you really need to be talking about with this team. There's constructive things that you can definitely point to: shot selection, defensive communication, Emmanuel Quickley's processing of the court. Probably, at some point there's going to be, like last week, Coach Mo came on and he was talking about how CMB maybe plays too hard and, plays a little too aggressive, and he's going to foul out of games or maybe have a lot of injuries. And I think that's a valid concern, but he wasn't hating on CMB, right? Like there's a difference between haters. There's a big difference between hate, like your haters, and your constructive feedback people. There are many people who have emailed me throughout the years and said, hey, Rob, you might want to rethink this or that, whatever. There's a lot of people who've given me a lot of constructive criticism. There's no way in hell that I've gotten better at this, though, at the rate that I have over the last 4 years without a lot of help and a lot of feedback. That's constructive criticism, right? Scottie Barnes, maybe straighten out your guide hand is constructive criticism. these are constructive comments. Scottie Barnes, maybe, you know, the shot preparation isn't so great. Maybe he needs to get a little bit back off a little bit on his point of attack possessions to trust his length a little bit. These are all constructive feedback. Scottie Barnes is Aaron Gordon, Ben Simmons, you know, that stuff. That's not constructive criticism. That's just straight up hating. It's ignoring reality. It's ignoring facts. Okay. Like, I think here's something that maybe, you know, I think people don't realize. And I'm going to show it to you. So, and again, I hate the fact that I have to kind of disparage one player that I love in order to prop up another player that I love. But here, I just want to show you something, because Scottie Barnes is, you know, again, you can argue the analytics. You can totally argue it. You can say like, oh man, like analytics are stupid. They're not. Consistently year over year, value of replacement measures out MVPs. If I go to warp leaders every single year, you can see every single year that the person who leads the league in value of replacement year over year is usually the best player and usually the rightful MVP. Year over year, players like Nikola Jokic, Shaquille O'Neal, etc., Kawhi Leonard have led the league. You know, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, these guys. In terms of cumulative warp over their careers, despite playing 220 games less, Scottie Barnes has a higher warp than Brandon Ingram. But people in this media space are very, very quick to anoint Ingram as the face of this franchise. And I can already see that they are going to try to do this all year, because this is how they engage toxic people. I am not going to do that. I'm going to do everything in my power to not do that, because I think that Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes need each other very much. I think they do great things together, and I think they can play wonderfully together. I think they're both really unselfish players. And I hate that every fucking year there is a Scottie versus this guy, and it's your own teammate. It's really bad. It's batshit crazy. It's absolutely stupid. If you can't see the value that this guy has, like, honestly, it's okay. Power to you, man. At some point, maybe, you know, yeah, that too, man. There's some absolute bullshit coming out of Thaddeus Young, you know, who said like they traded Pascal to give the ball to Scottie. They stood Fred in the corner to give the ball to Scottie. The very same season that he's referencing, Scottie was like 7th on his team in usage. James said, who has the highest warp in the league? Jokic. Every year it's Jokic. When it's not Jokic, it's Giannis. When it's not Giannis, it's Shea. Okay. So value replacement is a very good MVP tracker, and you can go year over year over year in terms of like who has led the league in value replacement. Scottie Barnes is, I think, 3rd or 2nd or 4th in his draft class in value replacement. Obviously, that has a lot to do with the number of games he's missed, the inoptimal role he's had. But through his first 2 seasons or a year and a half into his career, he was number 1 in his draft class. I personally am a little bit, I guess it's been a little bit disheartening to see how few people actually appreciate what this guy does. But I think that it speaks to a broader issue of people just not understanding basketball very well. And that's okay, right? Because the Raptors do understand basketball very well. And they decided to extend this guy a max contract. They made him the face of the league. They made him the face of the team. They have a coach who's been coaching for 29 years. This media speech, oh man, sorry, I just got so mad right now because I just thought about this comment that I heard 2 years ago about Darko, and it just fucking pissed me off so much. Why do people feel so confident talking so much shit about people they don't know? Why do people feel so confident talking shit about situations they don't know? You're dissecting the coaching acumen of a person who has coached since he was 16 years old, who has read more books on basketball, has had more talks about basketball, has literally been coaching basketball since before you were fucking born. You have the nerve to ask whether that person can coach in a tough game because he's a development coach. That's what drives me crazy. That's what fucking drives me crazy, man. The amount of disrespect that this dude has been given as a yes man, as a Scottie Glazer, because he thinks Scottie should take more threes. Yeah, he developed Devin Booker. You fucking talked into a podcast, Mike. He developed Desmond Bane. Desmond fucking Bane. Devin Booker. He has D-Book saying, this dude changed my career. He has Mikal Bridges saying, this dude changed my career. That is 3 max players that he worked with as an assistant coach. And you have the fucking nerve you fucking dweeb. You have the nerve to sit there and be like, well, I think Scottie should take fewer threes. And then clown Darko for saying he should take more? Fuck do you know? What do you know about development, bro? You're not smart enough to actually read up about it. You're obviously not talented enough to actually do it yourself. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, what is this? What is this like insane thing where we're going to characterize people based on how we feel about them as opposed to the objective facts? Here are the objective facts. Masai Ujiri, a person who knows 100,000 times more about basketball than you will ever know in your life, went through an extensive coaching search that took place over weeks and weeks, fired a former championship coach who was not working, by the way. And by the way, the guy that you defended ad nauseum. You defended this motherfucker ad nauseum. You said that the culture was not tanking. You said there was nothing wrong. You bitch ass motherfuckers. What you did, I'm going to be very clear with you, motherfucking bitch. I remember every fucking word y'all motherfuckers did. And you want to sit there and you want to blame Scottie Barnes for why the team is dysfunctional. You said that the team was dysfunctional because this dude is lazy and he has an attitude. He's beefing with Thaddeus Young. What have we found out about Thaddeus Young over the last couple of years? What have we found out? What have we found out? I think we found out that he didn't like Toronto and he clearly didn't like Scottie Barnes. Okay, cool. That's cool. So the dude that you called a zero-level scorer, the dude that you had questioning his work ethic, he became an all-star. Cool. Now the same dude that you were glazing, Nick Nurse, for all of his championship acumen and all that bullshit. Okay, cool. That dude is up there in Philly losing game after game after game, while the guy that you clowned as a company man and a yes man and a fucking goof who has coached more basketball in his life than you will ever watch in your life, properly watch, by the way, with accurate lens, that dude has created the best culture ever. And by the way, you motherfucking idiot, that's what I said was going to happen. I called out this team for being selfish a year before Masai Ujiri ever called it out. Let's be real about that. I told you that a team led by Scottie Barnes was going to be fun to watch. Is this team not fun to watch? Is this team not fun to watch? Are they not together? Do they not play selfless basketball? And yet you dumbasses are going to sit here and tell me that I'm wrong? And you've been wrong. You've been wrong every step of the way. I told you Scottie was going to be an all-star. He became an all-star, but you still want to see him as fucking Ben. You want to see him as some sort of Michael Carter Williams. Like you want to ignore the all-star year that he played guard that year. You want to ignore the work. Where are his work ethic issues? Where's Nick Nurse's coaching pedigree? Where's Darko's yes manisms? And now when Darko leads to winning, what will you say? Well, it's a good thing they got Brandon Ingram. It's a good thing they got Brandon Ingram because Scottie wasn't going to lead to winning. Y'all are so exhausting, but you're exhausting because you're stupid. I love listening to people who disagree with me, who actually understand the game of basketball. That's where real growth happens, man. Real growth happens with humble people who understand the fucking game, who are willing to extend questions in good faith arguments and actually learn from each other. Media propagandists who want to characterize every single person as some sort of fucking stupid caricature. I'm sorry for swearing, man. I apologize. I'm probably losing like 100 subscribers on this, but this rant has been building up inside of me for so long. I've been trying to be peaceful, and right now I'm losing patience. What I hear these people say is so coded. You don't understand. There is a difference between being humble and appearing humble. There's a difference between being smart and appearing smart. Say enough 12-syllable, 8-syllable, 7-syllable words, and people will assume you're smart unless they talk to you for more than 5 minutes, in which case they'll realize you're not that smart. Okay. Occasionally pass credit to somebody else and decline to accept a compliment, and people will think you're humble, but real humility comes down to work. You work hard. You work hard because you think that you have to work hard. Hard work shows me that you're humble. Hard work is humility in a nutshell. Okay. You talking bullshit into a microphone because you got a fucking podcast? Please miss me with that bullshit, man. Nah, this shit takes work. This shit takes work. Okay. And the truth is, Scottie's going to be fine. I know what drives this dude. I've been watching him for a really long time. I know exactly who he is, and I know exactly what he's going to become in this league. And he's become it. He's becoming it. We're seeing it. Okay. So realistically, this idea of he takes too many threes and he settling for threes and whatever, it's long, it's short, whatever. The shit that I heard, like, honestly missed me with that bullshit. That is copium for idiots. And you know what? I will say this. Anything you want to push in this world, there's an audience for it. I promise you, man. There are entire groups devoted to the moon landing being fake. There's entire groups saying, 9/11 was an inside job. There's entire groups, denying the genocide of Jews. There's entire, groups devoted to denying the Holocaust. Look, man, whatever you believe on the internet, I promise you will find consensus and you will find an audience. And if you want to say outrageous things and you want to say hurtful, hateful things to a fan base that is already probably a little bit frustrated and a little bit jaded and already negatively skewed, then you're going to find more of an audience. I will guarantee you right now, if I write the following post, and I never will, but I'm saying if I did, it would be my most viral post ever. You think I don't know how to go viral? I know how to go viral. Let me write the following post. Scottie Barnes is not a first option. End sentence. If I press send on that tweet will have 600 quote tweets by tomorrow. Why do you love to hate? If you're a Raptor fan, you should be very, very, very much rooting for this guy to become a superstar. You should be. But instead, you've got megalomaniacs and egomaniacs who are just rooting to be right. If you're a real Raptor fan, you should be rooting for RJ Barrett to continue developing. If you're a real Raptor fan, regardless of how you felt about Gradey at the draft, you should be rooting for Gradey Dick to be a good player. If you are a real Raptor fan, you should be rooting for health for Brandon Ingram. Just because you were against the trade at the time, which a lot of these morons who are now anointing and Brandon Ingram as the greatest thing since sliced bread, those same people were the ones saying, I don't get this move. Why did they make this move? I came out here and I said, this is a great move. Great move. If Brandon Ingram is a tool that you are going to use to describe what Scottie Barnes is not, well, then you can play this game. If I want to be equally toxic, I'll just dissect their defensive possessions every single night. And now we'll all be idiots and nobody will win. But that's not what I intend to do, because this channel is going to ignore the noise. More importantly, I think I'm just going to stop being on social media, man. I'm going to stop being on social media. I got to stop being on social media. I see too much of it. My algorithm is feeding me Scottie Barnes dissections by people who do not know how to dissect the game, and it is really painfully disgusting. Y'all want to get the clicks, so you write he's this, he's that, whatever. That's cool, man. I have never in my life talked to a trainer or a person who actually understands basketball, who does not value what this guy does, who cannot see the inherent value in what he's growing into. And you can't have it both ways. Let's just be logical about it. What is he? Is he a project, or was he some sort of surefire thing? If he's a project, then I need you to take the first 4 years as what they were. Project runs, right? We don't judge projects in their first year, do we? If he's a surefire star, right, and you're holding him to that, then I need you to acknowledge that you were wrong about him being a project, but you won't do that. Was he the attitude problem? And he was terrible and he was bad for team chemistry and he's the reason, oh, poor Fred was upset. Okay, cool. If he's that dude, then I need you to explain to me why the team chemistry got 1,000 times better when you handed him the reins. I want you to explain the vibes. I want you to explain it. Okay? That's what I want you to do. I want you to explain why this guy leading the team has led to better development. I want you to explain to me why this guy leading the team and Darko coming here has led to better ball movement than we have seen in years in Toronto. That's what I want you to explain. If he's such a bad guy, why is it that the more control he has over this team, the better their vibes are? I don't know. I guess we can't explain it, right? Maybe it's quickly. Maybe that's it. Anyways, getting that off my chest on Thanksgiving, I'm also thankful that I have no filter. I will say what is needed, and I've been ignoring this bullshit for quite some time, but leave it to a couple of tough, shooting games from Scottie Barnes in preseason for the haters to come out of the woodwork and see, I guess, Scottie Barnes was a bum all along. Let's ignore the All-Star season. Let's ignore all the progression last year. Let's ignore all of it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of myself. Hate to bring it back to myself, but it does remind me a lot of myself. I've made so much growth throughout my life, and I think I understand why I defend Scottie so much. I made so much growth throughout my life, man, but nothing I did when I was a kid was ever good enough for anybody. It was the weirdest shit ever. Like, I was a 4-star athlete. You don't understand this, okay? Please understand from my perspective. I worked 30 hours a week. I played 4 sports. So I was a four sport athlete. I was pulling off straight A's by the time I got into grade 12. I also happened to be an artist, like a visual artist. Like I was a painter. So I was pretty fucking talented. I wrote 5 books in grade 12 and I sold 7 paintings. And then I remember the summer, I think I brought this up in the previous live. I applied to 3 universities, didn't get into the 2 that I wanted, opted to take a gap year. And I remember like someone in my family saying like, "So I guess you're a dropout?" That comment made me so mad, bro. That made me so mad. I'm like, how am I so good at so many things and I still feel like shit because the people around me are just constantly tearing me down. And then you get into this other room, right? Like I went to university eventually. I found different people and they weren't my family. And they're just like, "You did what? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. You did all that? You worked that hard? Bro, that's unheard of." And then I realized I was being lied to the whole fucking time. Define this. Is he the attitude? Like, is he the attitude problem who doesn't work hard? Or is he the project that exceeded your expectations? Pick a door. Okay? Pick a fucking door. Is he the best rookie that you've had in this city in like 15 to 20 years? Right? Or is he worse than Jalen Suggs? Pick a door. Were you right or were you wrong? Like, I mean, for fuck's sake, man. Jalen Suggs right now, a lot of people in Orlando want to trade that guy right now. Never forget that the very same people who are tearing this guy down right now are the same people that wanted that guy in Toronto. And we're so convinced that he was going to be Kyle Lowry. And I love Jalen Suggs. I refuse to hate Jalen Suggs because the Toronto media wants to pit him against Scottie. I do love Jalen Suggs, but acknowledge that there is a mega gap between these 2 players. And not seeing that mega gap is hard. It's really hard to take you seriously as a basketball analyst if you can't see the gap between these 2 players. Super hard. But people continue to take you seriously, right? You poison the well because there's like a need to be right. So again, pick a door. Is he the super toxic, attitude problem, or is he the person that every player on the team describes as the most generous teammate, the super positive guy who just comes in, takes every practice super seriously, etc. Right? Is he the guy who doesn't care about preseason, or is he the guy who grabbed 12 rebounds in preseason and was a plus 22? Right? Is Darko like this super nice guy, yes guy bullshit? Or is he actually, as a lot of people would describe, the most intense coach they've ever had? I feel for Raptor fans in a very genuine way. I do feel for you. You are being fed garbage by Bob McCowan, by JD Bunkis, by people like this, people who couldn't bother to understand what the hell they're talking about. And they just spew nonsense because they view people as caricatures. Darko is the yes man. Scottie is the overpaid star. Ingram is the injury prone guy. Quickly is this guy. Mobo is the nepotism hire. Like they label. Like they're just so stupid. They label. And it's really frustrating to listen to all of that with a straight face and to know that stuff has a echo chamber and a platform to continue to spew garbage. The other day, I told a friend of mine that this was no longer the most watched Raptors show, right? And she said, "How do you feel about that?" And I said, "I feel great. I don't compete. I'm not competing. I feel good. I'm very, very blessed. I love the community we have. We speak truth year after year. We have a following, and I'm very thankful for it. Look at how well our memberships went. It was so great. Like, I'm very, very thankful for it. And I've shown a lot of love to at least one of the channels that's doing a lot higher in terms of views than us." And she said, "Have you ever thought that you changed the standard a little bit. That by being real, by being honest, by being super detail oriented, by, you know, releasing good video essays, that you changed a little bit of the standard of what it takes to compete in this space. Have you ever thought about that? And I was like, no, I've never thought about that. Not one day. I never thought that I changed the standard. But damn, do I want to. I do want to. I want to change the standard for what it takes to be detail oriented and right. I want to change the standard for accountability, because I'm tired of people running away from their stupid takes. That's what I want. That's what I really want. Right. And I really want to change the standard for what people expect from reasonable basketball content. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a version of this that isn't so stupid. There's a version of this that is actually viewing things from a less biased lens. And I know people are just like, but you're so biased against Scottie, whatever. All I want to do is to dissect the shit out of Scottie's game. All I want to do is to be able to talk about this guy honestly in a way that is critical. I would love to dig a video and just dissect the shit out of this guy's game. But it's so hard for me. It's so hard for me to be 1000% honest when you are being 1000% dishonest. So hard. Anthony Easton saying, just getting here, checking in from Louisville. How'd Chucky do today? Chucky was awesome, bro. That 19 win boost that he brought to Louisville last year, or I apologize, Louisville. Like I gotta realize, you know, the pronunciation, Louisville. So that 19 win increase was no joke. Chucky Hepburn got better every single year. In collegiate basketball. Shows me hard work, you know, shows me last couple of years he had really tough shooting seasons. But if you actually go back and watch all the threes, right? If you want to watch all the threes, right, that he took, a lot of really contested ones. So I gave Jeremiah Fears a ton of grace last year for shooting 28% from three, because I thought some of his threes he took were really hard. I got to give Chucky Hepburn the same grace, man. He took a lot of really hard threes, a lot of pull-up threes, right? I love him. I think he's awesome. I can't see a world in which he's not an NBA player. I legitimately, like, I don't want to take preseason too seriously, but I actually did. After we signed him, I went back and I watched every game I could of his that was available. And I think I ended up watching about 8 games this summer of him last year. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with him. Raptors Republic are high on Barnes. Yeah, for sure. I remember this past offseason, Sampson was asked, I think by Pull Up Trey, whether he would take Scottie in the 2020, who he would take in the 2021 draft to rank them out. And he took Scottie over Evan Mobley and Cade. Yeah, that sounds very, very high on Scottie Barnes. Like, I think so. Sampson is not a hater. Just so we're clear, like, I don't think Sampson's a hater. I don't remember Sampson ever echoing any bullshit about, you know, oh, Scottie doesn't, you know, has work ethic issues or whatever. I don't remember him saying that. He just has a very different vision for how Scottie can succeed than I do, and we'll see who's right at the end. Obviously, I think we're both very, very high on him. So it's nice to know that 2 out of the 4 or 5 biggest podcasts in Toronto Raptor space are very high on him. I don't think everyone else is very high on him, and that's okay, right? Grim Reaper saying their beloved first overall pick in Austin Matthews gets no hate while consistently being soft in a playoff choker. Go figure. I really don't know enough about hockey at all, my friend, to comment on that. But what I do know is that I got to get out of here, and I got to prep for that members only video /live. I'm going to see how to do it. It's the first one we've ever done. I would like to dissect something. I don't know. I would like to dissect something that is more meaningful, which is probably the value of vertical spacing. Probably look at a few film session, stuff. Take some questions from the members. So if you are one of our 125 members, be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna try to do that around 10 o'clock, 10:30 tonight. I understand that might be late for some people, but I want to be mindful of people who are having their Thanksgiving dinner and Vegan Grass saying they posting Scottie's rookie highlights now. Who is they? I don't really know, nor do I care. Okay. I apologize. By the way, I understand this episode went a little bit off the rails. Maybe it was a little bit unhinged. Maybe it wasn't necessary. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir. Maybe nobody in this community actually needs to hear me defend Scottie this way, right? I don't know. But hey, I feel very, very strongly that I have never seen anything from Scottie Barnes that deters me from this idea that he should be this franchise's leader, that he is a very, very good person, that his teammates adore him, and that Darko absolutely knows how to coach basketball. Olamina Bryan said unhinged episodes are the best ones, low key. Sometimes you got to let the cat out of the bag, man. Sometimes you got to do that, and yeah, I would love to be sensible and calm all the time, but I promise I'll be sensible and calm 99% of the time. But 1% of the time, we got to let me have one of these. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Please hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And yeah, I got to work on that episode. I still really don't know what I want to talk about. I really want to talk about vertical spacing, but then I kind of want to talk about Chucky Hepburn. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe I want to do like an Eastern Conference preview. I don't know where the Raptors will rank in the East, stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I got like a couple hours to think about it, and then I'll do that members only live. I'll talk to y'all later. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and thank you once again so much for supporting Pensare Basketball, and thank you to our members very much. Thank you to our members for keeping this content free for everybody. Peace, and Raptors win 3 straight. By the way, prior to the season, I made a bet with myself, actually. It was a deal with myself that I would not get to cut my hair all year until the Raptors won 3 straight. This is not a joke. I posted about this, and I took this haircut. And I remember when I was getting my haircut, I was like, can you please make it extra short? Because I legitimately don't know when this team is going to win 3 straight. 3 straight is kind of hard, man. Some teams go all season without winning 3 straight. I'm like, man, if the Raptors have a whole bunch of injuries, they might not win 3 straight until Penn Dance, and I'll be fucked. So now I have banked 1 haircut in the bag. So my deal is every time the Raptors win 3 straight, I get like a 1 haircut. Like I don't have to use it right away, but I get 1 haircut in the bag. So now at the very least, I'm not going to show up to Penn Dance like the Yeti. So I'm very, very happy about that. I want to thank God. All right, I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Please don't hate me too much in the comments for crashing out today. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have watched that bullshit before I started this one. Peace.